Hi everyone, I'm Liberty. This is my visitor donut. We are going to make my favorite holiday recipe. Whenever people are coming over, maybe not in the world of COVID, but when people are coming over and you need something really quickly, or you just have that sweet tooth that you're trying to settle, this is my go-to dish. It is done in minutes. You stick it in the oven for 30 minutes and they are done. They are delicious and they are so simple. So let's get started. I have exactly one stick, about 113 grams, so half of that big block of batter melting away. And I have my semi-sweet chocolate chips. This is a heaping half of a cup. We're just melting this really softly over the stove. There we go. So this is just on medium to low heat. You really don't want to burn your chocolate. That's a mistake, right, Donut? I have another dog named Henry. He's right over there. He's not nearly as interested. So we're just going to let that melt. You can see it's just melting away gently here. It's really easy to burn your chocolate. Nobody likes burnt chocolate. Doesn't taste, even chocolate doesn't taste good burned. I have never had someone not like these. And I've had some people be like, this was the greatest dessert I've ever had. Okay, so this is all melted. I'm going to take it off the heat. That's very important. We want to take it off the heat. So we have exactly 1 cup of sugar. Mix it in pretty good. And remember, this is off the heat. That's very important. And now we're going to add in 2 eggs. Just as we've just mixed that sugar, we have egg number 1 and egg number 2. Now, the reason you may want to make sure that you didn't get it too hot is because if you got your chocolate mixture too hot and if it burned, these eggs are also going to cook as you melt it in the chocolate, which is something that we really don't want to have happen. Coddled egg brownies just don't sound as good. So we're going to mix that up pretty good here. See, make sure you get around the edges. And by the way, I'm doing this all in this pan, this saucepan that I use to melt the brownie. So it's one-stop shopping here with this pan. And if you wanted to be really lazy, you could stick this pan right in the oven. Okay, so our eggs are all mixed in. I'm going to now add in about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you can get the vanilla bean, I couldn't find it. It's the thicker paste. It actually makes a difference. Most people have the liquid, just like I did, but the vanilla bean truly makes a difference. It's worth investing in, and it is an investment, but it's worth it. I'm going to add in a pinch of salt. I just have a little salt shaker here, just a little pinch right there. It gives it that, whenever you have something sweet, it's always good to put in a tiny little bit of savory, just something that just cuts through it, and you won't even be able to taste it, but I promise you, if you don't do it, you'll know that it's not there. And last but not least, we have 1/4 cup of flour. Again, all the conversions will be in the recipe online. And again, we're just going to mix that in really good. Now, this is where you can decide to get creative. I am a believer in these standard brownies and I would not change them. But if you want to add in nuts, if you want to add in more chocolate chips, make them double chocolate. If you want to add in caramel pieces, whatever your heart desires, this is where you'd add them in. But personally, I go for the tried and true plain old brownie. We'll do a little something at the end to spiff them up, which you'll see in a minute. But in general, I would go for the tried and true. So now that that's all mixed in there, we're going to pour it in a pan. I have an 8 by 8 inch square pan. I just have an aluminum one, but whatever works. This is an 8 inch by 8 inch. You just pour it straight in there. If you're using a real pan, you want to make sure to butter that baby really well so that it comes out. You may even want to put a little parchment paper in the bottom of it so that it can peel off pretty quickly, because we're going to turn these out once we're finished with them. So there we go. Save a little bit to lick. That's the best part. And that's it. These are done. So we're going to stick them in the oven for 30 minutes at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll be right back once they are cooked. Hey guys, we are back. The brownies are all finished baking. I have some icing sugar. We call it confectioner sugar here, powdered sugar. And I usually would use a little strainer or something like that has little tiny holes in it, but I don't have any here. So I'm using a fork. And you're just going to tap the fork and sprinkle this icing sugar all over your brownies. It really adds a little pizzazz to them and makes them, I'd say like stand out a little bit and adds a little extra spunk to them, makes them look a little holiday-ish. So you want to make sure you just sort of tap away. You don't want big, huge blobs of powdered sugar all over your brownies, which is exactly what I'm doing. So if you have a strainer, it's a lot easier to do, but a fork will work, and a pinch. And you just sort of have the fork here and you tap it gently, and you can actually see how it's slowly falling down instead of just blobbing down in a big blob. And then we cut into our brownies, and we're gonna just see how absolutely delicious. I'm just going for it with a fork And you can see they're gooey on the inside. They're a little hard, crisp, buttery on the outside. Divine. Thanks for watching. I'm Liberty, and these are Christmas brownie bites. Enjoy.